Hi, everyone. Welcome to Monday Night Ignite. We have great speakers tonight that I personally just got to recently meet. And so I'm really excited to see their faces again and hear their voices. I just got to meet Michelle and Stacy in the Idaho farm at the Melissa retreat. And it was just a blessing to get to know both of them. Michelle is first and Stacy will be speaking next on how to get the party started. Probably, even if it's not the talk, she's going to be doing it anyhow, because I think that's all she knows how to do. I don't know. So I'll tell you about her in a little bit, but Michelle's gonna be speaking tonight. And before we get started with that, we just want to thank you for joining. This is the new link and the password, and we're excited to have you here. If you're not in Splash, I'm sure most of you already are, but if you're not in Splash, please go to the comments or the chat and make sure that you get that link to send to your friends, family, downline that are already in Young Living, so that they can get established in that group too. That's a product education group. So that's Splash. And what else do we have to do? If you're in Gold Chat or Platinum Chat, or even the Diamond Chat, then you'll see this information posted there as well. And of course, you can take any of that and put it in your personal groups as well, so we can keep this going, and just a great time of fun, camaraderie, and education for all of Team Young Living. And so it's great. We'll have all the recordings. If you're looking for a past recording, they are all down right now, but we will have them all up probably by next Monday. And so be looking forward to that. And then that's something that it would be a beautiful link that you can also put into your own chat groups if you want to. And one more thing, for those who are waiting for the cancer information, my computer completely died for 3 days and all that kind of stuff. So that information is all going out tomorrow. I still have everyone's information for that, and we'll get that going. So now we're going to get started with Miss Michelle Skoczek, and she is a blast. As I said, I just got to meet her recently at the Melissa farm and spent a whole week with her. She's very loving and kind. I think she is a person that I would consider wise counsel, and she just has a heart for people, for Young Living, and was so excited to get to know her more. She's teaching tonight on, we've always heard of the Oils 101 class. So this is everything you wish you knew when you got started for the 102 class. And so getting to know everything that you wish you knew, like after that first class. And so really excited. She lives in Dallas and they need rain, so we can help pray for them for that. And she has enjoyed living a holistic lifestyle, making it simple for people so they can do the same thing. And Michelle, if I forgot anything, please mention it. And thank you so much for being here, and looking forward to hearing your information.
Great, thank you, Stacy, for that fun intro. It is great to be here, and I am so excited to share about this. I love this so much. I've been doing oils, and I'll tell you a little bit about my story, for 12 years this month. And it just keeps getting better and better, you guys. So I love this topic. I totally volunteered to teach this topic as one of the necessary things that we should all know, because like Stacy said, like we all have the 101, right? And then we're like, yay, you got your kit. I'm so excited for you. Have a good time. Now, those of us who've been around a Young Living, like we don't, I never set my people free, like that kind of thing. I'm always supporting my people and everything. But let's really dig into a 201, okay? What's next after you get your kit? And I know we've all heard stories of people who have told us years later that they never took their oils out of the box, right? And they just got so intimidated. So this is the class to prepare those of you who have either just gotten started, maybe you're getting a recording of this class, and that is because somebody cared about you enough to tell you about Young Living, to help you get your kit, and then they want you to know what you can actually do from there. Okay, so that's what we're going to cover. That's what we're going to cover tonight. So my name is Michelle Skoczek. I do live here in Dallas. We no longer need rain. Don't pray for rain. We're flooding now. And we still have rain for the next week. But like I said, my first order was, I actually signed up on August 31st, 2010. So I right at my 12-year anniversary. And I quickly became obsessed with oils. It did not take me very long because I was already kind of on my health journey. My health journey actually started with an email that somebody sent me about the evils of sunscreen, right? And so I started looking into the ingredients. What they told me was, they sent me this email, probably of some like blog article that said, sunscreen, the top 4 ingredients in typical conventional sunscreen cause cancer. And my mind was blown because I could see like all those people on this at the store buying that sunscreen. I'm like, how could that even happen? Why does the store even allow that to be on the shelf? And it just blew my mind and totally changed my paradigm to the fact of a lot of what Stacy talked about in her class was looking at ingredients and figuring that out. So I went into a deep dive of that. And what I figured out was you had your active ingredients, and then you had all the other ingredients that allowed it to be on the store shelf, or it made it soft and slippery, or it made it smell a certain way, or it made it last longer, all those kind of consumer things, right? Consumer ingredients. You can always read about like what that ingredient actually does. I'm like, I don't care if it's smooth. Like, so I just started DIYing these things. And in fact, I just found the zinc oxide that I had bought to make my first sunscreen. I had it like back on a shelf somewhere. It's kind of funny. So when oils were introduced to me for another reason, which I'll get to, but when oils were introduced to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the active ingredient I have been looking for. This is it. This is the power that I needed. And I didn't need all the rest of those, other things. And guess what? They smell good too, right? So now I have a little bit of a confession to make. The reason why we started using oils was because my husband was having back-to-back sinus infections, and April Pointer said to me, why don't you try some Thieves? And I'm like, okay, he's willing to do the neti pot thing. He's pouring salt water up his nose. I think he's just about willing to try anything at this point. So what we didn't realize was we just thought that this was normal, right? You live in Texas, you have allergies, you have sinus infections, and that's just what happens. So when we started using this Thieves thing, we were able to stop that cycle altogether. And then we learned so much more about what was actually causing that cycle. And it was awesome. And here's the confession I had to make, that I have to make to you guys. It was a clue to my conventional mindset. When I first saw the catalog of Young Living, and I saw that bottle of Thieves, the big bottle of Thieves, was like $32, $31 at the time. Immediately thought, oh my gosh, I can find it cheaper. I can find it cheaper online, right? And I'm like, I literally remember my thoughts. I'm like, I don't spend $32 on anything. They don't know me very well, right? So it was sort of like my challenge myself to like find it cheaper. But then I actually went to a class taught by Danette and Deborah. And I sat next to a friend of mine, Trish Crowder, and I leaned over to her and I asked her a question. And at the time, I didn't realize how pivotal that question was. It was just a question. And I was like, why Young Living? Why don't you use something else? And she turned to me and gave me the simplest, most profound answer that has never left my mind. She said, if I'm going to use it for my family's health, it has to be good. It has to work, right? And so the truth was, I was looking at this little bottle that makes stuff smell good. That wasn't what I was looking at. That wasn't what it was. And the truth is, I'm not going to trust it more if it costs me less, right? So what I loved the most was that I could use that one bottle for many uses. And like that thieves got us through like 10 of those issues, which if you broke it down, turned out to be like $3, way less than a copay. So I really started figuring this whole thing out. And that is why like my frugal little heart was so happy once I actually figured out what was going on here. And so within about 2 months, my thought became, oh my gosh, people really need to know about this. I'm like, April, we should teach classes now. And then the story goes on from there. So little did I know then that I would be loving this just as much, if not more, a dozen years later. Okay, so I am going to share my screen. Can everybody see that? Yes, okay. Okay, so let's talk about you and what you need going forward. Well, by the end of tonight, you're gonna know what every oiler should have, how to plan your orders, how to order economically, because that's a big thing for me. 2 things every home should completely trash, how to know how to use every drop, and the best resources to have. How's that sound? Okay, getting started. So again, you probably ordered a starter bundle with a set of oils and diffuser. And it's probably because you heard a whole list of ways to use those oils. Well, you heard right. It is truly the best way. It's the most popular oils. They cover every body system and they can pretty much do everything. So we're not going to cover the 101 or how to use these oils. If you didn't get this starter kit, you can always get this starter kit. I have purchased this many, many times. But tonight is the 201 of oils, which I always like to call what's next. So first, take your oils out of the box. Put them in places you will see them and use them. Put them in pretty places. I have them next to my nightstand. I have them in my bathroom. I have them in my kitchen. You should see the array that I have in my, on my desk here. Okay. Because what we know from like habits, atomic habits and everything is when something is accessible to us, we will think about it more. And what you should think about when you see your oils and when you go up throughout your day is this catchy little phrase, is there an oil for that? And quickly, again, you will learn there is an oil for that. And hopefully it's really close to you. But I always like to suggest putting your oils in really neat places because they become part of our lives and we like to look at pretty things, right? So there's all kinds of really neat containers, and on Etsy, there's all kinds of things. I have one of my favorite containers or shelves is something from the crafty Hobby Lobby store we have here. It's actually a hashtag that I just set it's hard to explain. I won't go into it, but I have like some of the greatest containers, and I have one of them here. It's my swivel container. I love this thing. I keep this in my kitchen. It has a lot of my vitality oils in it. And then one other item of convenience is on the website, you can order a set of labels. Just type in labels and they come up. It's a whopping $3.25. And it is one of the best tools you can have to use your oils so that you can see like I have, like, listen to what I say and not what I do. A lot of mine are not labeled, but it's so easy to then pick that up and know what you have there. Okay, so next let's look at your account and look at a few things that you should know about. So signing in is easy. I always use my member number. I'm not sure if it asks for an email or a user ID, but I always just use my member number. It's a great number that you should always have memorized for either referring or contacting live chat or calling in. That's the first thing that they're going to ask you for. So to sign in, I use my member ID and of course my password. And if you forget your password, of course you can reset your password. You have to use the email that's on your account in order to do that. You can't use a different email. So just make sure you know which email you have used on your Young Living account. Okay, the next thing is the first thing you're going to want to look at on your account is maybe where to track your order. Maybe your oils, your starter kit has not yet arrived. So you want to look at your order history. And that's where you can track your orders. You can actually get your tracking number. You can check the status of it. If you don't have a tracking number or something went wrong with your order, you can contact live chat, which is a tab on here, which happens to not be showing on this particular screenshot that I took. But live chat is a tab that's always on a Young Living page. It's on every page. And then they will ask you for your member number and your PIN number, whether you call in or you use live chat. Now your PIN number is a number that is a 4-digit number that you choose. Now by default, I believe it is 0000. So if you have to call in before that gets actually set up, that you set that up, that's the number you would default to, or just tell them you haven't set it up yet. And if you need to call in, the phone number is always at the bottom of every Young Living page. Okay, I have not yet even memorized this number. I should, but it's always there, right? We know where to find it. Now, I'm not going to go through every feature on the website or on this drop-down list because Young Living is always updating the website and improving it. So always be checking back to see what new and different feature that they've, given us recently. Okay, so this is again where you can find the PIN number, where you can set your PIN number or reset your password or PIN number. I think mine says set PIN because I've had the same PIN number since before the system change. So don't worry about it. I have a PIN number. So this is where you can make sure what your email address is that you used. You can change your email address if you need to, although I think you might have to contact member services to do that. And have your phone number on your account as well. Now, before you opt out of either the email or the phone number, now believe me, I understand I don't like to get, crazy emails or crazy texts or anything. In fact, for all of my customer accounts, I actually use a Google Voice, a free Google Voice phone number, and it's great. I just get all of those there, and it doesn't have to interrupt my main phone number. Anyway, that's just a little side tip for you. But before you go and opt out for that, if you opt out of your email or that, then there's no way for us to notify you, whether it's your customer service team or Young Living, of any account updates or news or events or community events or flash sales like we just had. And so it's pretty important to have contact that way. I'm so saddened every time I hear somebody say, oh, I didn't know about that. Like even Ignite calls, like when I email out, oh, I didn't know about that. It's maybe because you removed your email from your account. So don't do that. You can also check here to make sure that you have the 24% discount activated. That's a pretty important thing, and we will talk about that in a little bit later as well. If you started with a bundle, you will definitely have that 24% discount. Otherwise, placing at any time a 100 PV order will lock in that 24% discount for a year. And then just make sure you order at least annually to keep that discount and your account active. Okay, the first question I usually get is, how do I know what I need? So everyone has their own, and I answer it with a typical attorney move is you answer a question with a question. It depends. Why? I answer with a question. Why did you start? Everyone has their own reasons why Young Living caught their attention. Like for us, it was, sinus issues. And I'll give you some great ways to research those kind of topics later. But there are sometimes there are always bigger goals and some simple steps that everyone can take and should be taking towards better health. Maybe Young Living caught your attention because of a certain issue, but reducing environmental stressors should catch everyone's attention. But let's start with some things that everyone can do and a few truths. Now, oils and other Young Living products are more than just a crunchy way or a hippie alternative. It's becoming more and more important in this world to make sure that we're not exposing ourselves to chemicals that have become so common. So go to YouTube or just search in your search engine for the Stink movie. I'm not kidding. The Stink movie, or the shorter option, Story of Cosmetics. Now, the Stink movie, I think it's about an hour. It's an actual full-length documentary. The Story of Cosmetics is an 8-minute video that will give you an idea of what I experienced when I figured out the ingredients of sunscreen. That was the reality. This is how they explain this. And this is a campaign that's been going on it actually started right before I got that. It started right about that same time, but right before I got my Young Living account. It came out that Story of Cosmetics came out in 2010. So everyone can see health improvements, especially preventatively, by reducing the ingredients that the body doesn't recognize. And what you'll learn is that common doesn't mean normal. Like our story, just because sinus infections were common, that doesn't mean that they're normal. Or maybe those sinus issues were actually caused by maybe some of the things that we were doing to overstress our bodies, like maybe some of the chemical exposures. Maybe it was all those rounds of antibiotics that actually prevented my husband's body from functioning the way it should have. Okay. Now, did oils cure his sinus issues? I don't really think so. I think it was a number of things that actually broke us out of the cycle of what we were being exposed to and how his body was reacting to it. Okay. And again, just because it was common didn't mean that it was normal. And maybe the oils didn't need to cure him at least after a while, because we stopped exposing ourselves to all those stressors that were taking his body beyond the point that it could heal by itself. So again, back to the sunscreen, just because it's on a store shelf doesn't mean that it's safe. That is a reality that we all have to come to. However, if it's in a Young Living catalog, it is safe. It's actually the one place that I don't have to research if the ingredients are safe. So what you breathe in and what you put on your skin goes into your body. You guys, I used to think that the skin was like a plastic bag holding in your organs. That could not be further from the truth. It's the most porous and largest organ of our bodies. In many cases, the body doesn't know how to process all the things that we put on it, and then it goes in. So the body doesn't know how to process it, or maybe it uses up its valuable resources and energy processing those chemicals. And then when it can't, it accumulates these things. So companies have no reason or obligation to provide a safe product. They literally have no legal obligation to do so. And I know what you might be thinking. Well, what about the FDA? That is not what the FDA does. There are loopholes. And that's why I want you to watch this movie, because it's kind of outside the scope of this, but it'll give you an idea about why what we're doing here at Young Living is so important. It's like the bedrock of what we're actually doing here. Again, Young Living is that safe place where everything in the catalog has nothing in it that you wouldn't want. And it's infused with oils that actually help your body and your body system balance and function better. So a little caveat, when I say that the Young Living catalog has nothing in it that you don't want, every body is different. And if you have certain allergies, always check the ingredients. You're probably an ingredient checker if you have an allergic system or some allergy. And so I probably didn't even need to tell you that, but I just wanted to give you that little caveat. Okay. Okay, so here's an overview of what I'm going to go into next. And it's 4 simple ways that we can work towards this goal of living a cleaner life. And it's generally like, first, the simple things everybody can do. Number 2, remove and replace. Number 3, help your body remove unwanted toxins. And number 4, really replenish what your body needs to function optimally. Okay, so here are 2 simple things that everyone can do. Every Young Living member, everybody in Young Living should do these 2 things, if I made myself clear. So the first recommendations I always make is to get rid of your dryer sheets and your fabric softener. Simple swap. It's the simplest thing ever. Swap those dryer sheets and wool dryer balls with the wool dryer balls. And a couple of oils that are perfect for this are purification. I love using lemongrass on my laundry, but I just want to tell you guys, and it's probably in that, I know it's one of the details in one of those movies. I don't think it's in the Story of Cosmetics. I think it's in the Stink one. But the reason why this is so important, this could literally change the trajectory of your health. Dryer sheets are pure chemicals. You're putting them on your clothes, and then you're putting your clothes on your body all day long. It's not just so that those scents can waft up to your nose and you can smell them and it would be lovely. No, they are being put against your skin. And remember, like all the dryer sheet and fabric softener commercials that brag about it being long lasting, that's a chemical. That's a chemical that has no business being anywhere around your body, much less being on your body and being soaked into your pores. So, and especially your underwear, okay? Those warm parts of your body, it's just soaking them all in, okay? And those very hormonal parts of your body, that's truly the last thing that we should be doing. So I won't go into all the signs and symptoms of things of that, but just know that's pivotal, okay? The next thing is easily swap those air fresheners. Again, what we're breathing in, we're breathing into our lungs, it's getting in our bloodstream, it's getting in our brains. No wonder we have memory issues and things like that. A simple swap out those air fresheners and candles for a diffuser. And I mean, you've got right there in the starter kit, lavender, purification, citrus fresh, some of the best oils that I always put in my diffuser, peace and calming, okay? So you got some great options there. Then every home should have Thieves Household Cleaner. This is just one of the graphics that I found. There are so many replacements that you can make. And I love this. Again, my frugal little heart just jumps up and down every time I see something like this. And every time I use my Thieves Household Cleaner. Number 1, it saves me so much space. And number 2, I've just realized what a marketing gimmick the cleaning aisle is. Like literally, I don't buy anything on the cleaning aisle. I use Thieves Household Cleaner, and then I either like add vinegar to it or add baking soda. I can make anything out of Thieves Household Cleaner. Now we have the scrub, which is a great addition, but I always use it now, but I used to just use baking soda and make a paste, and it's fantastic. So I don't have the clutter. I don't have the smell of all those chemicals in my home around my kids. You know, if I had pets in the house, things like that, like you just don't have to worry about it, and you don't have to spend any money on this. This is the most economical thing. And everybody should have that at least on your second order. It is truly the ultimate replacement for conventional methods. Next, go through and replace little by little those personal care items with a cleaner option. And this is as simple as like either going throughout your day and realizing all the things that you do and all the things that are touching your body from head to toe, like especially in the morning when we get ready, like what am I putting on? It's an awareness thing. And then change those things little by little, whether it be the sunscreen, which we have, or a pain cream, or there's 100 things that I could have put on here. But for me, the big one is actually lotion. I had a doctor who was checking my thyroid. He was like, your thyroid's fine, but I'm really not happy about that memory thing you were telling me about. And so he ran my blood work, and sure enough, I had toxic levels of aluminum, and which really obviously upset me, because all you have to do is Google aluminum toxicity, and I'll let you do that yourself. But I had gotten rid of my aluminum deodorants. I had gotten rid of my aluminum pots and pans. And so I'm like, where could this be coming from? And it took a few days, and I realized just through that awareness, what am I putting on my body? What am I putting on my body? Sure enough, I had lotion at every stage of my house. I had it in my kitchen next to my sink. I had it at the stairway. I had it in my bedroom. I had it in my bathroom. And every one of them said, long lasting and blah, blah, blah. But they had leaves on them, and they said, all natural, right? How many else have fallen for that? Totally, right? So sure enough, I read the label, which is a very long label of words I could not understand, but sure enough, I see a word that in part looks like aluminum. And every one of my lotions had that, okay? Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't actually use a lot of lotion now, because I was actually really probably chronically dehydrated, and maybe it was all the chemicals and things like that, but I actually just don't even have much of a need for lotion anymore. So things have changed, and in ways that I wouldn't even imagine. So the second part is to allow the body, it's part of removing, right? But it's allowing the body to break down and to remove what doesn't belong. So we have a lot of great products. I picked out 4 that are my favorites. ICP Daily is a great powder that you put in a drink, and it just is a gentle cleanser of the digestive system. When we accumulate these chemicals, it's usually in the digestive system. So this is a great thing to go in and use. And you guys, it's not a one and done kind of a thing, okay? I started using Young Living 12 years ago. That doesn't mean I've never been exposed to a chemical since, right? We have chemtrails, and we have exhausts, and you go on a trip and you have to buy water out in a plastic bottle, right? So we're always being exposed to these things. So it's just usually a typical thing that we just keep doing, right? We just keep removing the toxins, never let them build up, right? Digest and Cleanse is it's a capsule of oils that clean the digestive system. So a little bit of a not a deep cleansing, but when you're like, yeah, my gut really needs some cleansing, that's the supplement for you. Detoxzyme is actually an enzyme that helps break down undigested foods and chemicals in your gut and lining. So that's an excellent one. And then right from your kit is Digize. Digize can pretty much do anything, you guys. I'm pretty much convinced. You may or may not love the smell of it, but I'm pretty much sure that Digize, it just does everything. So maybe not calm you if you don't like the smell of it, but Digize is excellent for cleansing, whether or not you're going to put it on your abdomen, you're going to rub it on the bottom of your feet, you could put it in a capsule. Digize is amazing. Then that next step is to actually replenish and build a great nutritional foundation. You guys, it's just hard to get good nutrition these days. And so we do have to supplement. And I'm just going to give you a few of my favorites that are good and foundational. I love the Omega Gize. It is a brain, that is it's a brain, omegas are excellent for the brain. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a brain booster, okay? Omegas are controlling your hormone levels as well, right? Master Formula is a multivitamin. Comes in a little packet like this. There's actually 4 of them in there. So that undoubtedly blows away any of those 1 a day kind of things. I wouldn't even bother with those. This is a awesome foundation of health. I even had a physician, an MD, tell me that many of my issues would actually be solved by this supplement. He wasn't going to give me anything else. It's like, take this multivitamin. And so that was awesome. So longevity is actually out of stock. I'll talk about that in a little while. And then the next one is Life 9, which is awesome probiotic. And again, that's for filling the gut with the good gut bacteria. But by and far, I love my Ningxia Red. It comes in the starter kit. It actually is a starter kit all by itself. And you got it if you really wanted to boost your health in a major way. You got the starter kit of Ningxia. But even in the premium starter kit with all the oils, you get a sample of 2 of these packets. And so this is, as you can see by this, it is a powerful antioxidant, fills in all the nutritional gaps. It's great for heart health. It's great for eye health. The stories on this are amazing. So don't miss out on getting your Ningxia Red. So is any of these like resonating with you, like the kind of things that you might need? I really want you to trust those things. If you're thinking about those things, you're like, yep, that's, that gut thing that you were saying, that's really, I think that's where I need to focus. That's the first step in really empowering yourself to making your own best decisions about what your body needs, is listening to that intuition. You know your body, okay? And it's going to tell you, if you're listening, what you need to do for it. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about how to shop and take advantage of all there is to offer. So first, it's about finding what you want. So this is what your account looks like when you hover over the word shop on the top left. It comes up with all of these categories, and generally you can find, if you're curious about these different categories, you can find a lot of different things under these categories. However, I actually love this search function. That's how I find all of my things. So let me show you how this works. So as you can see in this search function, I have typed in the beginning of the word eucalyptus. And what you find is it comes up with, so what you're searching for is either the name of a product, that anywhere in the name of a product, or the ingredients. That's what you're doing when you're searching in the search bar. So as you can see, when you just type in this, we actually have 3, if not 4 or 5 different types of eucalyptus. We also have eucalyptus in. We have eucalyptus in a product, in a number of products, like the Breathe Again. And then you can see different forms of that, like the Kids Sense Sniffle Ease, right? So there's lots of different options. In fact, if you read the top under product results, it says it's showing 5 of 64. So this is what happens. This pops up and you could click on any of those, or you could click View All and see all of them. See all of what comes up in that search. So that is how we find what you're looking for. So once you find what you want, now you're going to figure out the best way to shop. And so we start at the top with the good. Good to add that item to your cart. So when you click on the Breathe Again, it pops up this window and you see where I circled in red, it says add to cart. Great. Then you can shop, put anything in your cart, check out, good to go, right? But what's better is to make sure that you're shopping with the 24% discount. Now, again, if you got a starter kit, you do have the 24% discount. You can see in that purple circle, that will see how the retail is crossed out. That means my prices are at the discount. So you want to double check that that is true. If it's not, then you want to make sure your next order is either 100 PV or you add it to a loyalty reward, which we're going to talk about next. And that way you're getting a 24% discount, because any loyalty reward is always at a 24% discount. And so just like my favorite juice shop and my coffee shop, there's ways to earn points to when you're building your toolbox for health. So let's talk about that. It's called loyalty rewards, and this is how you would actually start it. On mine, it says add to loyalty order because I have one. But if you haven't already started one, it would say create a loyalty order, and then you would click on that one. So let's talk about loyalty rewards. So it's a monthly order. There's no program fee. There's no minimum period of time you have to be on it. There's no cancellation fee. You're not locked in at all. You can add or subtract to suit your needs. With your first order, you start earning points starting at 10%. That means 100 PV order. I'm just going to do simple math here. 100 PV order, you're going to get 10 points banked to spend on anything that also has a little blue flag by the PV, right? So you can use it for anything. I'm going to go back to my other window. If you look above the purple circle, you can see the PV price. It has a little blue flag there. That indicates that I can also spend my points to purchase this product, okay? So in the beginning, you start earning right away your first order with 10% of your order banked. By your fourth month, you begin ordering 20%. That means that at 100 PV order, you get 20 points earned. And after 24 months, you earn 25% back. Now, this is better than any credit card I have ever had, even at the first month of 10%, right? And again, you start that by clicking on create a loyalty order in whatever product you're looking at. So here's what mine looks like. So here's my loyalty rewards window. And you can see I've been on loyalty rewards for 142 months consecutively. That is 11 years and 11 months. I did some math on that. My earn rate is 25%. That means I'm getting basically 25 bucks back on every 100 PV order. I've got 389 points that I get to use. I usually bank these up, and every few months I spend them. So I don't like spend them as soon as I get them and things like that, because you do pay shipping on those orders, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And the points do expire after 12 months. So that's why, like at least every 6 months or so, make sure you're spending your points just on a regular basis. And then you can also see there's a point history. So every month it'll show you what you earned. And then when you redeem those points, they also come back. And there's also different situations where you get some free bonus points. And so those will show there as well. So what on earth am I ordering every month? You might be asking. What could you order every month? All right, let's talk about what's on our shopping list. How do we build a shopping list? So every month I go through a checklist of what I need. And I consider these kind of categories. Like, what conventional item can I replace for a cleaner version of what's in our homes, whether it's toothpaste, cleaners, I don't know what's in your home, but like we talked about, just start in the morning and take note of anything that you or a family member you're putting on your skin, right? And just do little by little. You don't have to do, and this is a great reason to have a monthly order, is you could make a long list and then you could just plan that out, right? Replace something in your bathroom, this month, and then next month, or maybe one thing in your bathroom, one thing in your kitchen each month, right? And then just have a plan going forward. And also consider issues that you're working on. Are you working on hormone balance? Many times we see a whole list. Like if you look at all the hormone products, there's a whole list. Well, I'm not going to get all those at once, right? Start with the ones that are like Endoflex. Always start with Endoflex, right? And then add different things to them. but have a 3-month plan for that. So what's next on your list goes on your next monthly order. And we'll talk about like how to plan for those things and where you can find resources to help you address those kind of issues. I always love to consider what's coming up the next month or the next season. Am I going on vacation? What am I going to need for that? Is school starting? Is it the holiday stress season coming up? Is it maybe the sugar season coming up where I should probably get an extra bottle of Inner Defense, right? Those kind of things, I like to consider what's coming up in the next month that I want to, be prepared for. Then there's always those regular things that I should never run out of. We ran out of Shutron, which my husband loves. And he's like, how do we run out of Shutron? Because never mind, that's our issue. And then one of my favorites is something new to you. That is just fun, right? And here's a pro tip. Okay, we're gonna give you some pro tips. Here's your first pro tip. You can make a wish list for all of those things. So, think about this, but let's go back to my order. See this under add to loyalty order, add to wish list. And when you see that, you click on that, it actually pops up a little window where you can create a new wish list. Okay, so you could create a wish list that said winter favorites and put Breathe Again on there. Or, you know what I mean? So when you see something, you're like, I need to remember to order that, or like to keep that in stock, or something like I love to give my daughter makeup, so when her birthday's in November, like I have an Emily list. Okay, so that's, so I keep different wish lists. So you can have a wish list of all of these things, right? That is so fun. Okay, so let's talk about some more pro tips. More tips on maximizing every order. So every month they have these freebies that they throw in. We call them monthly promos or gifts with purchase. That's a little much from my mouth, so I just like calling them promos or freebies. And they're always at the same levels of 100 PV, 190, 250, and 300. Now this graphic is a little bit small, but if you can see this bold print, it says loyalty rewards exclusive. That means that everything under there you get if your order is a loyalty order, okay? Otherwise, if it's a regular shop order, it's everything above the line, right? So you get a whole bunch of stuff just because you're on loyalty rewards. So that's a huge way to maximize that benefit. But just reaching these particular levels, they're the same every month. And every once in a while, there's a 400 PV level. So these are predictable. They're always 190, 190, 250, and 300. So that's a nice predictable level. So this is a great way to build your arsenal. There are things that we didn't anticipate, but like, suddenly you've got that bottle of Hinoki that you didn't even know you needed, right? And then you're like, oh my gosh, that was a freebie that month. I have a bottle of that, right? So I love that kind of thing. It always comes at just the right time. And there's always sort of like a focus or a theme, and it's great. So the next pro tip is this PV assistant. This is something that you use if you're on loyalty rewards. So it's an option to add certain items to fill your order to make sure that it's at a certain PV level when it automatically processes that day in the month that you've chosen. Now, why would you need this? Like, why would your order not be what you set it to be? Because items can go out of stock. Why would you want your order to reach certain levels? Well, because of those free promos. I always want to make sure I'm getting the 190, maybe the 250. Mine is set at 190 right now. And then my order is usually higher than that, but I always have it set at that. But so you want to have a PV assistant to make sure you're hitting certain levels, like for the free gifts, for those free, and also for referral bonuses, which we'll talk a lot about in a little while, but this is the most certain way that you don't miss a paycheck if you're also a brand partner. So again, how does your order change? Things go out of stock. Now, why do products go in and out of stock? I love this question. So Young Living products are all infused with essential oils and other plant-based ingredients that are fully dependent on factors that we cannot control, like weather and natural disasters. So when a farm property receives far less than typical rain in a season, or a major winter storm freezes over new blooms, or wildfire wipes out 3-year-old trees, have all happened. It can be a devastating loss that requires months, if not years, to replant. Additionally, when there's a spike in demand for specific products, like the Ningxia Red or the Thieves in the year 2020, these were in huge demand. It can take a while to boost the supply to meet the demand. And of course, Young Living is navigating the same shipping and supply challenges that the whole rest of the world is in 2020, whether it be bottles or caps or diffuser parts or packaging, like every other manufacturer and retailer. However, thankfully, with a product, we have like 600 products, you guys. There are many substitutions that we can make when certain items are unavailable. So if you ever find yourself without a certain product and it's out of stock and you're not sure to use, contact a Young Living leader, make a post in your Facebook group asking for suggestions. There's always options. So here's an example of how this works. So ImmuPro goes out of stock, which actually just came back in stock. So that was an example. ImmuPro went out of stock in many people's loyalty orders, including mine, because I always have that on there, always. And so PV Assistant automatically fills in that gap to reach that 190 level or whatever you have it set at with like toothpaste, lavender. You want to put in your PV Assistant things that you can never get enough of, like toothpaste and lavender, right? Or maybe Thieves Household Cleaner, okay? So that is just a nice safety net. Okay, now how do you spend the points that you've earned? You do it on a regular shop order, not on a loyalty order. So when you go to check out, the payment section of the checkout page looks like this little section on the right. And it says billing and payment method. If you have points, it gives you the option of spending your points. Here it says, for me, I have 389 loyalty points available. Select eligible products from the list below. These are all the things that I put in my cart already that had that little blue flag. So all I would have to do is go through and check off the boxes, and I'm literally just spending my points. And I typically will do an order where I'm spending all my, I'm using everything on points. And so my only charge at the end is $7.99 for shipping. I love that. Okay. So here's another pro tip. I always have a goal for your points. So it's kind of like your like slush fund, right? Either you want to get your Ningxia Red for free, or special things like I'm saving up for a raindrop collection. I always hear people say things like that. Or maybe it's something that you wouldn't otherwise like splurge on, like the Kid Sense rollers. That's like, I love those. It's probably not a splurge item, but I like, so have a wish list just for the things that you want to spend your points on. Okay. So then when you go to, what is that thing that I was going to spend my points on? Well, now you have a wish list to go to. So I love these pro tips. I'm going to give you some more pro tips to get the most effective use out of your oils. Now everybody has a few favorite Young Living items. Mine are a little bit different because my thing is all about efficacy. How good are my oils working, right? How are we doing on time? Oh my gosh, we're not done. I'm not done. So I'm gonna have to speed this up and skip through some of these things. So let me go ahead and give you, let me flip through my slides here because I really do need to skip ahead. I didn't realize we were almost at the hour mark. Okay. So one thing I want you to know, I really want things to be able to work. How do we know that
Yes,
Young
first.
Living oils? What's that?
And if you say, she says, well, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so I really want to know that my oils are going to work for what I'm purchasing them for. I'm not wasting my money, right? So how do we know that Young Living oils are going to do what they say they're going to do, right? To me, this was everything, and I want you to look at this as a resource. So not only do our oils have to be pure, they have to be complete. They actually have to have the constituents that dictate that they're actually going to be effective for use. Okay, this is what makes them different from fragrance oils, right? So this is why we have our seed to seal process in all of our testing. So there's a podcast on the left there that really walks through how we get our oils and everything. We have a website in the middle there that is a whole seed to seal website. And on the right, I've just included all of the list of testing that we do. It's a ridiculous amount of testing. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so pro tip, you will get more effectiveness out of your oils by using these two oils. Sulfurzyme totally increases the effectiveness of your body receiving the oils. And Copaiba, I add a drop of that to everything so that it's like a synergistic thing that makes your oils more effective. So that's my pro tip. Those wish lists that we talked about, you can actually share them. It has a sharing button. And just like the friend of yours who told you about Young Living, that was the sweetest thing they could do for you. Okay. And so think of somebody else and consider becoming a brand partner with Young Living, because everybody needs oils. All right. On the bottom of this, it shows that to become a brand partner and receive referral bonuses, you pay $29 and that's your entire startup cost for it. There's no inventory you have to keep or anything. You just share your wish list and you're ready and you're good to go. And because I said that, that's the income disclosure. Now I want to tell you about some of the resources. For the purposes of two things, to know how to use the oils you have and to learn what products you need for those different issues that you have. So our best resource is our community. You guys, we have so much, and there's a lot of things that we can't say even on Ignite that we can say when we're in classes together and so forth. So stay connected, keep your email on your account, stay connected to your community. They probably have a Facebook group like we have Splash. There are great reference guides. Even Stacy Kimbrell wrote one of my favorite ones, which is Living Balanced. And the other one that is Gentle Babies is amazing. These are all my favorites. Becoming Your Own Health Detective is truly one of the most empowering resources you can have, because it gives you all these little ways of knowing what your body is trying to tell you that you actually need. So, okay, you are well on your way. You know how to order, you know how to find what you need in your account. You have a framework of how to build your oily arsenal and how to learn more about the oils that you have. You found Young Living for a reason. One small change, the dryer sheets alone, can change the trajectory of your life and your family and your legacy. I hope that this 201 has given you a little guidance on your next steps and confirmed why you're here. Know you are in good company with others who are learning alongside you every day and sharing what they learn and inviting those they love to join us. Because while it's great to be healthy, it is not good that man should be alone. This is not just a company, but a community of people that are encouraged and empowered by each other. The end. Thank you,
Wow,
everybody.
that is amazing, my dear, and such a fabulous, great, packed full of information presentation in literally 1 hour. So the replay will be tremendously used and watched over and over. And thank you for all the resources that you gave. And Young Living is an awesome community. And just, obviously you've been in here almost as long as I have. You said 12 years. I think I'm 15. I am 15. I think you said 12. And yet we just met each other this last year. And I know we'll be friends for the rest of our life. So I love all the opportunities that we have to meet people here within Young Living and really get a part of this community. And Splash is the old but new community that is for everybody and with great product information, once again, with a ton of information. So please, especially if you have a brand new person, get them in there with that resource so they can start learning and educate themselves as soon as possible. Michelle, thank you so much. We appreciate you and all your wisdom and knowledge and just being a woman of integrity as well and helping us be educated. Thank you.
Thanks, Stacey.